Alright, first I'm going to show you how to rig a punching rig. And what you're going to need is some kind of a stop. These are Eagle Claw, which are actually used for crappies. And these are called Peg X weight stops, which are actually intended for this purpose. I'll use the Eagle Claw. And a trick somebody showed me was to actually put two of these on. And the way you do this is you thread the line through the loop of the wire, fold over your line, and then you just simply pull off the stop. It really doesn't matter if they're red, yellow, black, they're going to be covered up and hidden by the weight. So there's one. I'm going to rig two because over the course of a long day of punching mats you may burn one off, and that way you'll still have one on and you don't have to cut and retie. So let's put the other one on. You can see that doesn't take very long to do at all. Now I've got two stops. To that, I'm going to put on a punching weight. Tungsten is better because they're heavier for the size. And so we're trying to punch this through matted weeds or heavy vegetation. So tungsten's really the way to go. This one has a little shank on it so I can put a flipping skirt on, and that's what I'm going to use tomorrow when I go fishing. So I thread the weight on. Now if you're going to rig a punching skirt, you need to put this on prior to tying your knot. And a punching skirt's a lot like a spinnerbait skirt, and this one feeds right over . So the punching skirt feeds over the shank of the weight, and now all I do is thread my line through the weight. You want the pointed part of the weight looks like a bullet, that should be pointed towards your rod. And then at that point you would retie your hook. To tie this, you want to put your line in on the pointed side of the hook. Take your line, let it run down the back of the hook, create a loop, then I'm going to pinch right here by the bait keeper, and then I'm going to make anywhere from 5 to 7 wraps. This is going to be a very strong knot, so really 5 wraps I think is plenty. This is a VMC hook. Some hooks have a bigger gap between the bait keeper and the eyelet. Okay, once I have my 5 wraps, I'm going to go back through that original loop. And then to tighten this down, pull the line that's leading to the rod, making sure that my loop snugs down over the bait keeper. And trim off the end, and there you have it. Okay, now take your weight stops and slide them down, and you can see, as I've shown in another film, when your weight hits the hook's going to catapult or lever up into the roof of the fish's mouth. If, when you tie this knot, you come in from this end first, what'll happen is it'll catapult still, but it'll catapult the wrong way with the back of the hook into the roof of the fish's mouth, and therefore not hooking the fish. Okay, with this standard rig, you can put any number of plastics on. I have some chigger craws, rage tails. I've actually got some paddle tails, and I've got some Reaction Innovations. This is a sweet beaver and this is a kinky beaver. I'm actually going to a lake that has a lot of bluegill, and that's why I have this punching skirt on. So what I'm going to do is try to imitate a bluegill rather than a crayfish. So I'm going to rig this skinny dipper by Reaction Innovations. It's a paddle tail. To rig it, I'm going to go right through the nose of the bait and pop it out just like I'm Texas rigging. I like to rotate before I get to the bait keeper because otherwise you're going to dig out a little hole within the plastic, and I don't want that. Make sure you slide this all the way over the bait keeper, and then in the not the kinky, but the skinny dippers, there's a groove cut here. So I just measure with my thumb where I want that hook to go in, fold it back, and expose my hook. Now there is a little groove in the back that'll help keep it weedless. And when you're done, it's going to look like this. So there's my presentation, trying to imitate a bluegill. Alright, the challenger to a standard punching rig is a punch-through rig. This was developed in Japan, and you don't need the stops, but you still need a weight, a bullet weight, but instead you need one with this keeper on it. This is a warhead weight by Kalin's. It's called a seismic warhead weight. Now this one is not tungsten, so you can see the size difference. So you would be better to have a tungsten one. Those are super expensive, and I just don't have any. So I'm going to use this weight right here. So you got a little bigger bulk, and I will talk about the advantages of one over the next. Alright, as far as hooks, you do need an offset hook, not the standard punching hook. Okay, to rig the punch through weight, I just use a standard offset hook. This is a heavy duty wide gap by VMC, and this is a 5/0 because to that the plastic I'm going to choose is a kinky beaver, which has more appendages than the sweet beaver, and it's a big bait. It's a kinky beaver 4.0, I believe they call it. Yeah, it's as big as the a 4.2. Alright, so rather than rig it like a regular Texas rig like so, I'm going to end up with it backwards. So to do that, I have to enter through the front end where the eyeballs are. So I'm going to feed this through, pop the hook out, just like I would be Texas rigging. Okay, when I get to the offset, that's where you need to allow the hook to rotate over, which it should do naturally if you just guide it. There we go. Okay, so now this is where the hook's going to end up. But before I hook that into the plastic, I'm going to take this weight with the wire keeper and push it in. And then when I put the hook in, it should go through like so. And so that way the weight will be attached. So I push the weight into the plastic. It's pretty easy to do. Now the only challenging part is making sure that you catch that space between the wire and the weight. And there it is, it's connected. And now I can texpose this, and there you have the punch through rig.